Hey everyone, AquaTwist here. Welcome back to UI Spy, the series where I analyze the UI of video games. I just got back from PAX West, and wow, that was awesome. Not only did me and my buddies have a great panel with Mario vs. Sonic, but I got to try a bunch of upcoming games for the Switch too. The third-party releases were super fun, but I was most excited to try Pokemon Legends CA, and of course, Kirby Air Riders. I'll be focusing on the latter for today. Kirby Air Riders is the newest game from Masahiro Sakurai. It's the first non-Smash game he's produced in 13 years, after Kid Icarus Uprising in 2012. As much as I love Smash Ultimate, I'm happy that Nintendo approached him to work on a different series for once. And after trying out the demo of Kirby Air Riders, I have a lot to say about the UI so far. How does Kirby Air Riders continue Sakurai's legacy of UI design into the Switch 2 generation? Let's find out. Sadly, I didn't get to see many of the menus at the PAX West demo, but there are a few screens I can talk about. The title screen of Kirby Air Riders is a carbon copy of the one used in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, except there's no red banner at the bottom for press any button. Just a white background with a black border and logo. Hopefully this is a placeholder, because otherwise, this is too boring. The logo is especially disappointing. When we first saw the logo back at the Switch 2 Direct in April, I expected it to be temporary, like how Kid Icarus Uprisings was in its first E3 trailer. But sadly, this doesn't appear to be the case, as the key art has been finalized. An all-black logo made sense for Smash Ultimate, as it indicates the end of a near 20-year era for the franchise. A sense of finality, if you will. But this is the first Kirby game from Sakurai since 2003, and should be a celebration of the series' legacy. Why not use the standard Kirby logo like in Forgotten Land, or hell, even bring back the old style with the pink text and red outline? It would have perfectly signified the return to a Sakurai-designed Kirby game, which has a different vibe than modern Kirby design. A plain black logo doesn't fit the light-hearted, fun identity Kirby is typically known for. It's heartbreaking to see Sakurai and his team succumb to minimalist design, coming off of one of the highest selling Switch 1 games which didn't follow this minimalist design at all. After the title screen, we see what the lesson screen will look like. It's neatly organized by different categories: Basics, CD Trial, Copy Abilities, and Advanced. When a button is hovered over, it does a diagonal shine animation, identical to Smash Ultimate's. The bottom of each button has multiple rhombuses, indicating the number of lessons each category has, which is genius. The bottom of the screen has a banner describing more about the specific category, like in Smash Ultimate's menu. After I completed my lessons, I picked my racer. The character select screen is definitely a highlight here. The background uses a green geometric pattern, which is nearly identical to the main menu buttons in Smash Ultimate. It's refreshing to see a game from Sakurai with a smaller character roster again, which we haven't seen since Smash 64. Each row is stacked on top of each other in a zigzag pattern. Combined with a selected character slot and name header, a player's eyes creates an illusion of movement. This psychological phenomenon is called kinesthetic empathy, and has been in Sakurai's games before. But as I discovered, this was especially prevalent in Air Riders' design. There's a huge chunk of empty space on the left-hand side too, so this means more characters are very likely to get added. Now, will they be free updates or paid DLC? We'll have to wait until the game's launch to find out. Your selected character has looping trail lines moving back and forth on its icon, giving the simple shape some energy. Characters also have a brief description of their abilities, which are crucial to learn as each racer has a unique mechanic. Icons of your character's different colors are lined up underneath your ability description. This is a nice quality of life addition, as this was previously hidden in a submenu in Smash Ultimate, but it would have been cool if underneath the header it displayed the game a character originated from. As the next generation of gamers get their hands on Nintendo Switch 2s, it would bring them up to speed on the pink puffball's legacy. My only critique of the screen is the random button prompt in stats. They use plain white text, making it difficult to read against the light green background. It would have been nice if there was an outline to give these elements better contrast on screen. Once you've selected a character, you see a 3D model of them ready to go on a compact star, and speedline zoom through the background. The icon, name, and header are angled to point directly to this 3D model, taking a page from the battle UI in Persona 5. This genius design choice will keep players' eyes oriented towards the character model as they wait for other racers to ready up. And once everyone has readied up, your character model blasts off screen. Aren't y'all seeing this? This is the charm that we need to see in the next Super Smash Bros. Game. If these design choices don't get reused in the future, I'll be disappointed. Now, let's hop into City Trial. Unfortunately, Nintendo was extremely picky with how it can record footage during the event. So I apologize if there aren't any good angles from the footage I gathered. But a special thanks to Dimitri for allowing me to use this footage. It'll make the analysis a lot easier. The countdown at the start of City Trial has these nice speed lines behind the boring black text. The footage shows green for the middle stripe, which is likely chosen to represent the City Trial mode, because as we saw in the Air Riders Direct, the middle color was red while playing in Air Raid mode. Certain stages such as Wave Flow Waters use different colors, such as teal. So I wonder if this color will change based on the stage you are playing on. When you get a new vehicle or copy ability for the first time, a white banner slides in from the right side of the screen describing its features. I asked the Nintendo rep next to me and they confirmed that these tips will only appear the first time you've acquired them. Hopefully there will be a tips menu like in the last two Smash games, where I can refresh myself on this info at any time. The name of the power-ups you collect no longer matches the color of their icons, which is a shame. By using the same white text for all power-ups, it takes an extra second to associate the color of the icon with its name. It may seem trivial, but these extra seconds add up over time, taking away focus from the action of City Trial. The speedometer vector from the original game was simplified, now featuring an icon of your player character. As Kirby Air Riders is named after the multiple player characters from the series, this icon is an important addition, especially for split screen play where everyone chooses different characters. There is now a red special gauge underneath the speedometer, the new core mechanic included in your toolkit. Whenever you get a copy ability, a large vector of said ability gets tacked onto the speedometer. It's worth mentioning that all characters can use copy abilities this time, not just Kirby. This is one of the rare instances where there are multiple copy ability users in a Kirby game, which is super exciting. The timer text is greatly shrunken down from the original, using a white font instead of yellow. There's now an appropriately fitting icon next to them. With the increased racer count and more chaos happening on screen, simplifying the colors was appreciated. Though I wish there was a tad bit more color, like a pinkish tint, instead of just using black for nearly all HUD elements. I'm also worried about how some of the smaller text will look in handheld mode, especially for those with vision issues. Hopefully they can add different size options for certain HUD elements, like they did for the blast zone radius in Smash Ultimate. All the different parts of the HUD are nicely divided to each corner of the screen, instead of only being on the right side of the screen. Whenever stadium events happen during city trials, such as Dust Up Derby, a black panel with a yellow warning boldly appears at the bottom of the screen. There's more animation compared to how it looked in the original Air Ride, which is super nice. I got to try the Dust Up Derby at the PAX West demo, and it was super fun. This brings me back to the random events from Smash Run on the 3DS. The top left of the screen lists icons of all the players and CPUs on the battlefield, with a red line crossing off each player that gets knocked off during this event. It's a great showcase of how chaotic stadium events can get during City Trial, and I'm excited to see more of them when the full game releases. The minimap has a transparent background despite being a small square on the top left, unlike most minimaps being a regular circle. This gives more screen real estate to see more of the stage at a time, which is essential for staying on track. When you use a special move, a sharp triangle with your selected character slides on screen, like in Smash Ultimate or especially the battle cutscenes of Persona 5. For the last 5 seconds of City Trial, the iconic Smash Bros. Style announcer voice returns, adding tension as the countdown begins. I'm really glad this iconic audio cue is back in another one of Sakurai's projects. Before the final stadium event begins, a screen with all the power-ups you've obtained pops up, basically like Smash Run on the 3DS. Each bar is color-coded to every power-up you've acquired, along with its respective icon. Though it sucks that the power-up name isn't included like in the original Air Ride or Smash 3DS, especially since inexperienced players won't know what some of these icons represent. A long horizontal bar with the Switch username, player number, and character icon also appear on the bottom of the screen, with a nice gray checkerboard pattern, once again reused for the main menu on Smash 3DS. The multicolored trail lines which come off of your vehicle add some spice to the otherwise plain purple background. Looking at the victory screen, this has the most Smash Ultimate isms. The background has this nice repeating green-beige triangle pattern with spin lines bursting out of the center. This better captures the celebration of completing a match, compared to the generic screen in the original Air Ride. The number of the position you placed in is massive and super rewarding to see. The red drop shadow behind the number really makes it stand out. Even though I only got 3rd place in both my city trial runs, it was satisfying to see the metallic texture and sparkle effects. The curve on the right hand side of the screen is basically the sidebar from Smash Ultimate's menu. An image of the stadium event you completed in your city trial run is displayed at the top left corner of the screen. I can't wait to see how this results screen will look in other modes like in Air Ride. Overall, while the gameplay of Kirby Air Riders is incredible, the UI design has a lot to be desired. There's dozens of quality of life adjustments here to fit modern gaming standards. However, while it's another excellent addition to Sakurai's portfolio, it's weak as a menu for a Kirby game. Considering Sakurai was asked to make Kirby Air Riders during the DLC of Smash Ultimate and how quickly he made his proposal, it makes sense for him to reuse previous design techniques. The two games were in development at the same time after all. But remember the original Kirby Air Ride and how incredible its menu design was? Although it was similar to Melee, especially with its sound design, there are still enough differences to give it its own visual identity, like the iconic pie slice buttons and thick black outlines. Unfortunately, from the menus I've seen, Kirby Air Riders borrows too much from Smash Ultimate's visual identity, which is a shame, and I really hope there are more differences in other menus we haven't seen yet. But those are just my thoughts. What do you think of Kirby Air Riders so far? If you're going to pick it up, comment down below who you'll main. Be sure to like this video, share this video, and subscribe if you want more Switch 2 coverage like this. Thank you to my channel members for supporting me, and remember, your life is your own.
Objection!